today on BKRsport, we're going to be discussing Jarome Luai and kind of where I think he would suit best. I'm not necessarily talking about kind of money and how much he could get, because we all know that realistically, if he suits and it's the biggest kind of money, he's more than likely going to be choosing the biggest kind of money. He's done everything he possibly can in the game, except for arguably prove himself outside of Nathan Cleary. You know, obviously at the Panthers, he's won 3 premierships in a row, been there for 4 grand finals in a row now. He took and led Samoa to a Rugby League World Cup final where they played Australia and did obviously get beaten by Australia, but was an instrumental, massive part of why Samoa got to that final and beat England in the semi-finals, well, in England. Which is not an easy task. You know, I know we always talk shit about the Poms and have a bit of a laugh and banter and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it was in England and they already absolutely flogged Samoa in the opening game of the tournament. And then for them to be able to turn that around and get to the final was absolutely incredible. So, you know, Jarome Luai was a massive part of that, and is a kind of a big reason as to why the Samoans didn't do anything and didn't turn up at all when they came up against Australia and New Zealand in the recent Pacific Nations Cup. They just didn't do well at all. They went with a young team. Luai took a bit of a break. It is what it is. Oh, it could have been break. No, he was injured, wasn't he? He was injured from the grand final. Sorry, my mistake. But yeah, him not being there really did show that Samoa didn't really have that leadership there through a guy who has won multiple premierships and has been that guy. However, I do go back to saying that without Nathan Cleary, I still don't believe he's proven himself individually. As a collective and as a part of a team, absolutely. But when it comes to, do I think that Jarome Luai, because he's won 3 premierships in a row and 4 grand finals in a row, do I believe that Jarome Luai is the best 5'8" in the game, which is what you would normally assume with that? The answer is no. I don't believe he is the best 5'8" in the game, but I do think that a lot of people underrate him significantly simply because of the personality that he does attribute on the field and off the field in the public light. Obviously, when it comes to private time and when it comes to outside of the social landscape, I'm sure that Jarome Luai is a very lovely individual, and I'm sure that he does have his head screwed on, because you can't be at this level in a big time career like this without being intelligent and without understanding the perspective of pretty much everyone who's looking at you from all different angles. Guarantee that he understands the situation and plays into it, whether that's with the NRL, the Panthers, or just because he chooses to. He does play into the villain role, but I do think that due to playing that villain role, people, especially in Australia with tall poppy syndrome and whatnot, and especially in Australia with, like, if you're going to talk shit, well, we're going to talk shit double back. I think that that's what happens with Jarome Luai, and people forget that he is still an incredible player. He is still a fantastic player to watch. He's elusive, he's energetic, and I really do enjoy watching Jarome Luai play. Again, I'm not a massive fan of kind of how he portrays himself, but I know he's doing that deliberately. I know it. Enough of that though. Let's talk about kind of teams that I believe he would fit in. Obviously, the Tigers are probably going to be sending him the most amount of money. It depends on if you want to be a part of that. I guess we can talk about the Tigers first here. So I've got Zero Tackle up right now, and the teams that they're predicting for 2024, the players they're predicting, 2024, 2025, whatever. The point matter is that these guys, this is what their team is looking like now. So you'd assume that a club would try and sign a guy like Jarome Luai for 2025, because I don't think they're going to be getting him for this next year. But 2025, I will basically go off what it says here for 2024. If I do forget that a player signed somewhere, please let me know in the comments section. But look, in regards to the Tigers, I believe the figure was the Tigers are expected, this is from ESPN.com.au, but the Tigers are expected to offer Luai a deal worth as much as $4.4 million over 4 seasons after Benji Marshall met with the Panthers number 6 to talk about 2025 and beyond. Now, $4.4 million, 1.1 per year. The cap will ultimately continue to go up. People forget about this. Like, the cap will continue to go up, and inflation and all this kind of jazz, right? So that, I don't personally believe 1.1 is where I would value him at. I would probably value him right now at about 900. I think that's still a very hefty payday. The million is what players, the big time players are getting, and you could make an argument that Jarome Luai's worth that. So this is just my personal perspective. I'd personally be looking towards that 900 mark, just because I do think that a lot of the Panthers days do cloud based on the fact that they have Nathan Cleary there, who pretty much everyone nearly regards as a potential prospect of becoming the best player of all time. You know, Nathan Cleary gets the respect, Jarome Luai not so much. So I think that despite he's a part of that team, it does cloud with Nathan Cleary. And that's why I think that he has to leave. You know, the Panthers are still offering, I think they're lowballing to be fair. And I get it because obviously you can stay and win. You've got kind of guarantees in regards to being, well, you've got guarantees in regards to being very competitive, but you've also got kind of guarantees that you could pretty much go on and win another premiership with this team if you stay. So I get the Panthers could lower that so then they can keep the team overall competitive. Look at what the Dodgers did with Shohei Ohtani, for example. I get that. I do think, though, if he wants to create more of a legacy for himself and prove himself as a guy who was instrumental in that Panthers team and whatnot, that he needs to go elsewhere and show that he can do it without Cleary. I think that's the best thing for him. Now, if he wants to stay in Penrith, so be it. Love it. But I don't think you'll ever get the true accolades that you probably deserve in Penrith if you're Jarome Luai. Now, at the Tigers, you know, their best 17 in full squad is including Jaden Sullivan as their 6 and Aiden Caesar as their 7 going into 2024. Now, with this being said, obviously Adam Twahey is also kind of lingering around. He's coming back from an ACL injury. They don't really have a great deal of depth here at Tigers, but I think we all know that. They have come last 2 years in a row, right? So the Tigers, in an ideal situation, would be a big team for him to go to. So with the money that they're offering and the fact that he would suit, you would put him into that 6. Aiden Caesar's no young pup anymore, has played with the Bulldogs, the Titans, and then went overseas and now come back. Do I think that Aiden Caesar and Jarome Luai would work well together? You know, how old is Aiden Caesar, for example? I don't think he's that old, to be fair. Aiden Caesar age, oh, no, he is 32. Like in NRL time, the rugby league time, sports time, 32 is definitely getting on there. And Aiden Caesar's fine. You know, he's a fine player. Do I think that Aiden Caesar and Jarome Luai work together? Maybe not necessarily, but I also don't think that Aiden Caesar is their plan for the massive long-term future when he's 32 years old, right? So Jarome Luai going into that 6, 2025, he'd be then 34 at that stage. I guess the Tigers' thought process would be that's where they build around. Like, obviously, they've got Jareen Buller. That's a huge one there. Their backline is relatively awful. I won't lie to you. Noffalim is not what he used to be. He's got contract issues. And the 3, 4, and 5 star for Toa, Josh Faliti, and Junior Tupou is what they're predicting here. Is not exactly fantastic. And you look, and if that's the team that people are thinking, then the depth isn't that great there either. So, look, at the end of the day, the backs need to be fixed because they've got a great 4-pack. Godoi Sau, Clemmer, Bateman, Papali'i, Fonuapole, Utukamanu. I think I said him. But the point matter is that they've got a really solid 4-pack. But this is what I outlined going into the 2023 season, is that you can have the best 4-pack in the business, but who's scoring your tries? You'll get into the attack in 20. And the Titans-Tigers game at Leichhardt in the first round of the season actually proved to be the pivotal one for me that proved this. And this is the first game of the season, because the Tigers were constantly in the Titans attacking 20, but they had no options to score. They did not know how to score a try. So for me, it's smart that the Tigers are not thinking about the Adam Fanua-Blake situation and trying to get him, because I don't think they need him, really. I don't think they need him. I do think they need Luai. So for me, the Tigers definitely have to be at the top of the chain there in regards to who I think would be, he would be the star player there. Dream Baller's there, but he would be the star guy that everyone would look to. He would be the leader. I would more than likely assume that he would go into the 7 role and keep Jaden Sullivan the 6. Not sure if those two guys work together. So I think they probably should look to kind of fixing their 5A situation. And I'm not really trying to shit on Jaden Sullivan there. I just don't think that that's going to be a fantastic, ideal situation for those two guys partnering each other. So yeah, look, I would personally put Jarome Luai into the 7. Aiden Caesar probably on the back end then. And then maybe build with Jaden Sullivan, maybe move on. I'm not too sure. Quick little wrap here, I guess, about the Dolphins. They've got a Sai Katoa and Shohei Sullivan. I'm pretty certain that they're going to be happy to move forward with these two guys. I know the Dolphins were touted as a potential prospect. I don't think it'll happen. I do think they need to find a lot more talent in some key positions. I do. I'm interested to see how Happy Farmer goes to the fullback, but the point matter is their halves is still prospects, in my opinion, and they're definitely not premiership winning halves, in my personal opinion. If push came to shove and Luai came, I would assume it would probably be O'Sullivan's expense. I do believe the Dolphins are well and truly keen on the Sai Katoa, but I don't think the Dolphins are really going to be in the market for a 5'8", and I don't think they're willing to give up on these two guys right now, especially when O'Sullivan came from the Panthers too, to be fair, but yeah, I don't think the Dolphins will really be in play too much. The Sydney Roosters are an interesting prospect. They are very interesting, to be fair, because they've got Luke Keary, and Luke Keary, his age is you know, he's getting on a little bit now. He's 31 years old, obviously multiple premiership winner, fantastic player, absolutely fantastic player. Got selected in the draft when I did the Rabbitohs, actually, when he won the premiership in 2014. Fantastic player, Luke Keary, but he's getting on. And they've got Sam Walker, who they're very happy with going forward. They believe in him, potential Queensland halfback, whatnot. Haven't seen it yet, though. But Luai coming in would actually really help the situation. I don't know how well Sam Walker and Luai work together. Like, Sam Walker, for me, isn't really a pure 7. I really... It's a hard one. I don't really see him kind of becoming the player that we thought he could be. But you bring Luai in there, and that might help him develop into the player that we know he can be. So, you know, it'd be a good play here for the Roosters. And look, we all make a joke about him. They've got the best accountants in the business, man. They know they could get him in. They could get him in. Do I think they can afford him on the contract that he's probably wanting? Probably not. But also, Nick Politis is Nick Politis. He could honestly put a contract offer of an ice cream and an expired coupon for Woolworths on the table, and someone would take it. 1, because it's the Roosters, and 2, because you're getting all these, you know, extra money. You're right? That's what I would be saying there. Like, it's worked very well at the Roosters. So I would not put it out of the equation. Likely, not as likely as the Tigers and whatnot, but I do think that he would sit nicely in this team. All right, next team we'll move into is a big one as well. The St. George Illawarra Dragons. Now, these guys need someone fast in their spine. They don't really have a spine right now. Their spine is... Their whole team just needs to... They need to go the Tigers route. They need to completely rebuild. They need to blow it up and start again, because they don't know who their fullback is. They're 5'8". In Taltalmone, Ben Hunt is in 7, but he's 32 years old now. By 2025, he would be, you know, 34, and definitely wants to go back to Queensland, so he probably won't even be there. And then their 9 is Jacob Little right now. They've got Kyle Flanagan, who's come in, but, like, you can't expect a great deal from Kyle Flanagan. Overall, this team would suit perfectly for Luai if he wants to be the leader and to prove himself and to show that he can be the Nathan Cleary of the Panthers for the Dragons and be the Jarome Luai of the Dragons, right? I think that if he wants to really kind of set himself apart from the rest, this is probably the second best option. I still would say the Tigers are the option, but this would be the second best option for him because he would be effectively taking over for Ben Hunt. I don't know what they're doing with their 5'8" situation with everything going on off the field. I don't really know what they're doing in general at all, this Dragons team. They're still in a very big plateau at the moment, in my personal opinion. So I think this is the second best option for him. But there's also, the negative here is that there's not a great deal of excitement going forward. They need to make signings, right? And if they're going to make a signing of Luai, that's a lot of money in the cap. And then Adam Fanua-Blake kind of comes out of the question. Or if you've got the money, then you can kind of try and go for both and make a big-time ballsy play, like a boom-boom. Don't think that's happening, though. Like Francis Molan and Blake Lowry, Adam Fanua-Blake. I personally think that Luai is more important here. I think Luai is more important to this team. You can have all the forwards in the world, but if you don't have a good halves pairing, you're not winning shit. And Ben Hunt's going. He will go. So then you're left with what? Taltalmone, Tyrell Sloan, Jacob Little, Kyle Flanagan. There you go. So you're not going to win a premiership again if you go to the Dragons, because I probably don't think they're going to win in the next couple of years, but it would prove Luai is the guy if he can take this team to do something, because they don't look like they're going to be doing something in anytime in the near future. Quick little wrap up here of the Rabbitohs. Not happening. Just not happening. Cody Walker's their 5'8". Once Walker goes, put Jack White into the 5'8", you would assume. Lachlan Ellis is their 7. I just don't think that changes there. So I'm not even really going to talk too much about the Rabbitohs situation. Already spoken about the Penrith Panthers. Look, they're a likely shout if he wants to take less money, stay where he is, and potentially win premierships. But I just think that if he wants to move on to prove himself as an individual player without Cleary, then Panthers are not the way for him to go. So I would say, on what I think he should do as a top 5, I'd probably put the Panthers at 5. Likelihood, I'd probably put them at 2. I'd probably put them at 2. Actually, yeah, I'd put them at 2 above the Dragons, based off of what I said in the last one. I'd probably put Tigers first, Tigers first, Panthers second, Dragons third in regards to likelihood. Parramatta Eels, another one here. They've got Dylan Brown. They're happy to keep on with Dylan Brown and Mitchell Moses, I would believe. I don't think that the Eels are even slightly interested in Luai, to be honest with you. Like, interested maybe, but they're not going to make a play. In regards to the Cowboys, Cowboys have got Tom Dearden. They love Tom Dearden. Tom Dearden's a great player. Also being touted to go elsewhere. Don't know if he does, but also being touted to go elsewhere. A couple of 5'8" in the market in the next couple of years. Chad Townsend, he's obviously getting older. If you wanted to put Luai into that 7, or Dearden into that 7, and then Luai into the 6, I'm not too sure. I don't think the Cowboys will make a play. I don't think he suits this culture. I don't think he suits this team. For me, Jarome Luai is a Sydney boy through and through, the way that he acts. So I don't think that I don't think he would suit in any Queensland team, to be completely honest with you. But I guess there is a room here. There is technically room there for Luai if he was to make that play, but I don't think the Cowboys would go out of their way to sign a guy with the kind of attitude that he has. Moving on to the New Zealand Warriors, they've got Luke Metcalf and Sean Johnson. Sean Johnson is aging. I think that they want to try Ronald Volkman going into the future. They've also got Demondo Martin there. Luke Metcalf is a guy that they're heavily believing in. They've just brought in Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, which pushes him into the centres. Don't know why I mentioned that, but it is what it is. Over they've got Freddie Lussick. Look, overall, I don't think that the Warriors have any need for Luai right now. Obviously, they want to get as much as they can out of Sean Johnson. I personally think this might be his last year, Sean J, even though he had such an electric year in 2023. I do think come the end of the year, you might start seeing peter out. But again, we all thought that this year and he kept on going. So I just don't think that Luai will move to the Warriors. I don't think that that's a shout. You go into the Newcastle Knights, a team that would like to probably get someone like this, actually. I think he would work alongside Jackson Hastings quite well. But they have got Jack Cogger now. They have got Jack Cogger, who goes in that 5'8", alongside Jackson Hastings. I think they've made their play. I don't think that they're in the market. They've made their play for their guy. They got their guy. We move on. We're just going to quickly skim here through the Melbourne Storm. They've got Cameron Munster and Jerome Hughes. They would be of no interest. They would not even be thinking about it, to be completely honest with you. It's one of the best halves pairings in the entirety of the comp. You go into the Manly Seagulls as well, another one that I'll quickly skim over. They've got Cherry Evans there as a 7, who is aging, but with that being said, still one of the better halfbacks in the competition. Luke Brooks is the guy that they signed. I think Luke Brooks will do well under Daly Cherry Evans there in the 5'8". I think that this is a team going forward that actually will start to improve on what they've been doing in recent years. Obviously, they had that 1 year in 2021, but outside of that, I think as a collective, they do have a pretty good team going forward, and I think that they've got their guy in Luke Brooks, so I don't think that much needs to be said about that one. You go to my boys here, the Gold Coast Titans. Interesting, because technically it would be a fit. Technically, Jarome Luai would be a huge fit here for 2025, because Kieran Foran, for me, love Fozza, is one of my guys. I love Fozza, but he's obviously getting towards the back end of his career now. Even he would say that. I think he's going to have a big year on a Desi, for sure, but the 6 is open after next year, realistically, and Tanner Boyd needs to have a huge year for the Titans to really prove himself. They do have the likes of Tommy Weaver coming through. They've got Brimdog Millionaire, AJ Brimson, who could play 5'8" as well, because obviously there's that issue with Jaden Campbell, AJ Brimson, and Keanu Kinney. But they've got Tommy Weaver there. Actually could chuck JC into the 5'8" there. But the point of the matter is that it is open. There is an opportunity there. I don't know if the Titans would do this, though. I don't think the Titans would go out of their way. I also find it crazy they've got Keenan Palacia starting over both them next year. Maybe the early parts, maybe, but I doubt it. I'd probably put Keenan Palacia 13 with Bowie Firmer into the 12. But, yeah, it's a technical fit. I just don't think the Titans would have any interest in it. Based on, 1, would kill the culture here, and 2, they're pretty believing in Tommy Weaver. They're pretty believing in Tommy Weaver, to be honest with you. All right, let's go now into, but again, big fit. All right, the Cronulla Sharkies. I actually originally thought this was the play. I actually think that on a perfect level, if the Sharks can afford it, I think this is the play for them. I think this is the go. If you want to win the premiership, this is what I do. If you want to win another premiership, Cronulla, I believe that Luai should be your prime time signing. I believe it, 100%. Braden Trindle for me is a pure 7. Nico Hines is a 7 or a 6. But I don't think that Nico Hines in the 6 and Braden Trindle in the 7 works, right? But Nico Hines is the 7, won Dally M halfback of the year, won Dally M in 2022. I think it was 2022. Won the Dally M, right? So you can't move Nico Hines out of the 6. well, okay, Jarome Luai's been killing it for the Panthers. Chuck Luai into the Sharkies. I actually like it. I think they're both running halves, but I do think Nico Hines can lead this team with Luai floating around. I do think they've got a quality team. Will Kennedy, Sonny Katoa, Talakai, Jesse Raymond, Ronaldo Montalvo, electric backline, Nico Hines, and then you get Luai into the 6. I think Braden Trindle could go to a team in the 7. I think he could go to the Tigers, to be completely honest with you, and I think he could help them, to be honest. But I do think that the Sharkies need that one big player alongside Nico, and I think they have a chance to win the competition. Their forwards are a bit kind of how you're going, but you had Luai in, and this will give them so much more space. I'm telling you, if it was up to me and I was at the Sharks, I would sign Jarome Luai. I think that wins them the premiership. Again, cap-wise, not sure, but I think that wins them the premiership. Alright, well, we get to the Canterbury Panthers here, the Penrith Bulldogs. This team is always looking for a Panthers player, and this is a big team, actually. It would be a perfect fit as well for Jarome Luai. Toby Sexton, my boy, love Tobes. I don't know if he's the answer there going into the future. Matt Burton in the halves. I also don't think he's a half. I don't think the Dogs have solid halves there overall that can take them into the future. Stephen Crichton's their fullback, they're assuming. I think he's a centre. I think he shouldn't be playing fullback. I think he should play centre. Reid Marnie is solid. Just need him to have a much better year than what he had in 2023. But Jarome Luai, coming into this team, would actually help him out massively. That would help this Dogs team out massively. They need a star. They've got stars, but they need a star in the spine that is a pure spine player. Crichton, for me, is not a fullback. Chuck Luai in there. Look at this, right? Reid Marnie, very solid. I wouldn't say star, though. Stephen Crichton, star for centre. Toby Sexton, not a star. Would love to see him do well, but not a star just yet. And Matty Burton, star, but for centre. Or for 5'8", personally. But I still don't really think that he has that in. I think that if you brought Jarome Luai into this team, you would move Matt Burton to 6 and Jarome Luai to 7. Even though you could keep Matt Burton 7 and Jarome Luai 6, I personally would rather see Burton 6 and for Luai to actually lead the team, like he did for Samoa. So I think this is a big time signing. If the Doggies can land him, it would help their team out. But their forwards are still very how you going. This is predicting Carl Oluwapu to be their 13, which is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting there. They've got a lot of unknowns, the Dogs, but also a lot of potential, but a lot of negative unknowns as well. So, yes, this would be a prime time signing here. I know the Bulldogs have expressed interest. I'm not too sure if they're still keen in the race, but it would help them out dramatically because I do think that their spine is going to be their biggest attractor in 2024 and 25, you know, going forward. But I guess you get another year under the belt and see how they're going. You go to the Canberra Raiders. This would be a pretty solid fit as well, with the fact that obviously Jack Whiten's gone. KO Weeks comes into 5'8", Jamal Fogarty's the halfback. I actually think that this would be the best halves combination of the lot. I don't think the Raiders are the best situation for Luai, but I do think that him coming into this as the 5'8" alongside Jamal Fogarty would work well, because Jamal Fogarty is just a straight up do the job. I don't think he's that great, but I think he's a straight up do the job, and if he has an electric 5'8" alongside him, to be fair, this could be a perfect situation actually, because they've got a great 4-pack, Papali'i, Tarpanay, Young, Whitehead, Horsburgh, massive year. Luai would help this team out massively, to be honest with you. I don't think their backline's that fantastic, but this Raiders team always just knows how to kind of chug along and be there with Ricky Stewart. I think that on a pure level of the best halfback situation for Luai, it actually would be Jamal Fogarty, and it would be the Raiders here. And I think that it would bring them back up into a lot more of a contending for top 6, is what I would say. I don't think that they'd be winning the comp, but I just don't think Jamal Fogarty is the kind of guy to win a comp. But I think that, yeah, Jarome Luai at that 6 would help this Raiders team out to become a top 6 contender. Yeah, it would work out very nicely. And then the last team is the Brisbane Broncos there. Brisbane Broncos have no interest. They're obviously wanting to re-sign Ezra. If Ezra Man did sign elsewhere, then obviously that'd be a huge play. That'd be a massive play by the Bronx. Don't think it's going to be happening, though. They are happy with Ezra Man. A lot of people are putting him into the top 3 category, potentially even top at the moment. Currently on form, probably Ezra Man is the number 1. But overall, Cameron Munster would still be number 1. Would love to see. I think that if there's a Queensland team to be able to handle the way that Jarome Luai is as a player, it would be the Broncos. out of all of them, but they're going to stay with this man. So, yeah, look, that's my analysis, guys, into what I think about Jarome Luai, where he could go, what teams would suit him. If I was to say, based off of where I would like to see him the most, it would be the Tigers. It would be the Tigers because they need someone in the back line to be able to help them score. They need to score tries. It doesn't matter that you can get 80 metres into the attacking 20 if you can't score tries. Player of need, no player of want. You don't need Adam Fanor-Blake. You need Jarome Luai, in my personal opinion. Bulldogs, another one. Bang. Throw him in there. It is help, but there's still issues around that, in my personal opinion, with the Doggies. There's still issues. But then again, what we're waiting for with Luai is to prove himself as an individual, right? And individually take another team elsewhere, right? And take them further up. So I guess that with the Bulldogs, you're always going to be kind of having that concern with him. Then, yeah, look, Panthers re-signing is definitely out of the equation. Dragons, if you don't want to win a premiership probably for the rest of your career, that's probably the place that you do go. You make them more competitive, but there's also Ben Hunt leaving, a moment situation. Fullback is the back line's not too bad with Rabbitohs and Zach Lomax and whatnot, but you know, it's not crazy. And the forwards are. And yeah, like there is some good teams. There is some good teams that do fit for him, but it just comes down to if he is all about the money or if he is about becoming a better player. Considering he's already done everything he needs to do, I think money probably is going to be more of the equation there. But I do think the Tigers are willing to put the money in, and I do think the Tigers are the best kind of suit for him. And then they do need to build more players around in that backline though, because that backline still is not going to win the premiership, you know. But this would take them a step up. But there we go, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. A bit more of a longer one here today. But, you know, on Instagram, you guys were telling me you want to hear more opinion pieces and whatnot. So, hope you did enjoy it. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.